Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. So today we are from group 8 would like to explain about types of sentences. There are 4 types of sentences. The first is simple sentence. What are simple sentence? A simple sentence is a sentence containing only one clause or more specifically an independent clause. It is only need one subject and one predicate. For example, I bought my friends some candy. It is a subject, and bought my friends some candy, it is a predicate. So remember, it is only need one subject and one predicate. So in this simple way, it could be called simple sentence if it has a subject in the sentence. If it's just a predicate, it would be called a compound sentence, in which would be told by my partner in the next session. That's all with a simple sentence. Let's move to the next part. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Hi friends, I'm Daisy. Nice to meet you all. Here I would like to continue for the second types of sentences, which is compound sentence. So, compound sentences is basically two or more simple sentences joined together. And there are 3 ways to join the clauses. 1. With a coordinator. 2. With a conjunctive adverb. 3. With a semicolon. As we all know, for the types number 1, compound sentence, with a coordinator, we use fanboys as a coordinator between the sentences. A compound sentences with coordinator can be formed as independent clause, comma, plus coordinator plus independent clause. For example, women live longer than men, comma, for they take better care of their health. I use coordinator for between the sentences. And for the types number 2, compound sentence with a conjunctive adverb. A semicolon follows the first independent clause and a comma follows the conjunctive adverb. And it can be formed independent clause, semicolon, plus conjunctive adverb, comma, plus independent clause. For example, students must take final exams, semicolon, otherwise they will receive a grade of incomplete. I use otherwise as a conjunctive adverb between the sentences. And for the types number 3, compound sentence with semicolon. This kind of compound sentences is possible only when the 2 independent clauses are closely related in meaning. And it can be formed as independent clause, semicolon, independent clause. For example, my older brother studies law, semicolon, my younger brother studies medicine. Okay friends, that's a little bit of an explanation about the compound sentence from me. Without further ado, let's jump to the next section. Bye-bye.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I want to explain about the third type of sentence. It's about a complex sentence. A complex sentence is a sentence with one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. It works best when you need to provide more information to explain or modify your sentence's main point. Complex sentences are easy to spot as they often use subordinating conjunctions such as because, since, if, until, when, even though to connect clauses. Okay, so the key to using complex sentences is understanding the difference between independent and dependent clauses. Basically, independent clauses are complete sentences on their own, but dependent clauses are not. Dependent clauses always start with subordinating conjunctions, and with subordinating conjunctions, a clause becomes a description of another clause. In this way, dependent clauses change the meaning of independent clauses. Okay, so for example of an independent clause, you cannot leave the school. That sounds scary, right? This independent clause means that you must remain at school forever. Now, let's add a dependent clause to make a complex sentence that clarifies things further. You cannot leave the school until the bell rings. See how the dependent clause changed the meaning of the main points, right? You cannot leave the school is independent clause, and until the bell rings is the the dependent clause. Okay, and for notes, please remember, if the dependent clause comes first, place a comma right before the independent clause, and if the independent clause comes first, no comma is needed. Thank you. I hope you can understand this explanation, and my friend will explain about the fourth type of sentence. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Dila, and in this part I will explain you about the part 4 of the types of sentences, which is complex compound sentence. For a short review from the types before, complex sentence is the mix of one independent sentence and more than one dependent sentences. Then, by the compound sentence, it's filled by more of the independent sentences. By that, the compound complex sentences are the mix of the structures above. Number 1 is by the two independent sentence. Number 2, at least one dependent sentences. I say at least because it depends on the situations of the sentences. You could put more of the independent and dependent sentence. The standard for it is just what I have said above. Here's the example of compound complex sentence. After the storm passed, I went outside and I picked flowers. The dependent sentence is on the sentence after the storm passed, while the independent sentences are on the I went outside and the sentence and I picked flowers. If you want to put more of the dependent sentence on the example above, you add it like after the storm passed, I went outside and I picked flowers because they were beautiful. I put dependent sentence on the last sentence, which is they were beautiful. Okay, that's it for the types of sentences. Thank you for the attention for our group. Wish you all have a good time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.